He exercised the courage that we expect from our commander-in-chief in exhausting all measures of diplomacy, having the courage to meet with adversaries, dictators, allies, and partners alike in the pursuit of peace, seeing war as a last resort. The truth is, as we head towards our decision as a country in November, the same cannot be said about Kamala Harris. In fact, the opposite is true, and we're living through this reality today as this administration has us facing multiple wars on multiple fronts and regions around the world, and closer to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. This is one of the main reasons why I'm committed to doing all that I can to send President Trump back to the White House, where he can once again serve us as our commander-in-chief. Because I am confident that his first task will be to do the work to walk us back from the brink of war. We cannot be prosperous unless we are at peace. And we can't live free as long as we have a government that is retaliating against its political opponents and undermining our civil liberties, weaponizing our very institutions against those they deem as a threat.
This is my video update on this Tuesday morning, August the 27th. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with another Trump campaign endorsement coming from Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi endorsed Trump yesterday, and now we have Robert Kennedy Jr., a Kennedy, a man of the traditional left, a man of the populist left endorsing the Trump campaign. You now have Tulsi Gabbard, a true progressive, endorsing the Trump campaign, someone who wants to put an end to the U.S.'s foreign wars and wants the U.S. government to begin to focus on the American people. She has endorsed the Trump campaign. And you have quite an alliance that has formed. The populist left, progressives, a true progressive, and they are aligning with Trump's America First, MAGA, populist right movement. And all of this is about stopping the globalist, neoliberal, neocon forces that are represented by Harris and Waltz. That's what this alliance is focused on doing. Stopping Harris-Waltz and stopping 4 more years of globalist, neocon, neoliberal policies which are destroying the United States and could destroy the world. And Gabbard made a point of that in her endorsement speech yesterday, saying that the wars have to end. There's a real threat of a nuclear conflict and nuclear escalation. With 4 years of the Biden White House and 4 more years of Harris and Waltz, and that is why she is endorsing the Trump campaign to put an end to this dangerous escalation and put an end to all of these foreign wars and start focusing on America. So that is Tulsi Gabbard. Her endorsement is huge. Kennedy's endorsement of Trump is huge, and we have hope. We have hope. Hope is building. Hope is gaining momentum. And we are in the mess that we are in. The world is in the mess that it is in because of the Biden White House's adventures in Project Ukraine and the globalist, neocon, neoliberal Biden White House believing, and the European Union, the globalist, neocon, neoliberal European Union believing that they could remove the Putin government, regime change in Russia, take over Russia, take over all of Russia's vast resources, eventually break Russia apart, and then focus on taking care of China. And that is why we are in the mess that we are in, is because these masters of the universe actually believed that they could accomplish this goal of ruling the world, removing Russia, removing China, and controlling all of the globe. And that brings us to Project Ukraine. And yesterday, the Russian Ministry of Defense, they put out a statement saying that the big missile strike in Ukraine did indeed target Ukraine's energy infrastructure, and it was a successful targeting of Ukraine's energy infrastructure. And they also targeted, according to the Russian Ministry of Defense, they also targeted aviation, military assets in Ukraine as well. So that is what the big missile strike was all about yesterday in Ukraine, and it was done in the morning hours, in the daytime, for all of the world to see and to understand that Russia can strike any part of Ukraine anytime it wishes, and can turn the lights off in Ukraine. There is no air defense in Ukraine that can prevent Russian missiles and Russian drones from hitting their intended targets. And the Russian military, they showed that yesterday. And this was not in retaliation for Kursk. Actually, the Kremlin put out a statement, and they said that what we saw yesterday was pre-planned, was already in the works, completely independent of Zelensky's stupid Kursk operation. And the retaliation for Kursk, according to the Kremlin, is still being planned. It's on its way. So think about that. The big Russian missile strike that pretty much put all of Ukraine in the dark yesterday had nothing to do with Kursk, and the real Kursk retaliation is still coming. So that was a statement that the Russian Ministry of Defense put out. And yesterday, the Russian military, with an Iskander missile, they hit a hotel in Kryvyi Rog, which happens to be Zelensky's hometown in Ukraine. And they hit a hotel called the Aurora Hotel. And according to the Russian Ministry of Defense, this hotel was housing foreign mercenaries. And the missile strike took out this hotel and took out the mercenaries who were stationed at this hotel. The reports are, at the moment, and this is coming from the Russian side of things, that 12 mercenaries have been annihilated and 8 mercenaries have been injured and taken to local hospitals. So that happened today as well with an Iskander missile. The Aurora Hotel in Kryvyi Rog, Zelensky's hometown. Now, Ukraine, yesterday, the Ukraine military, they issued a statement claiming that the Russian missile attack was successfully defended. The Ukraine military said they shot down about 100, I believe they said 100 Russian missiles. 99 Russian missiles is what they claim they shot down, and 99 Shahed drones, as well as other Russian weapons that were launched into Ukraine yesterday. So according to the Ukraine military, the Russians failed. They didn't hit any of their targets, or they hit very little of their targets, which would mean, if you believe the Ukraine military's reporting of what happened yesterday, it would mean that something else happened in Ukraine to completely turn off the lights and to turn off the water supply. That's what the Ukraine, oh boy, that's what the Ukraine military is saying. I wonder if people are actually believing these statements from the Ukraine military that they successfully shot down most of the Russian missiles and Russian drones from the big missile attack yesterday. Don't believe your lying eyes, which can't see anything because everything was dark in Ukraine yesterday, but just don't believe the images of people in the metro in Kiev. Don't believe the images of TV news anchors in their studio as the lights go off. Don't believe any of that stuff. The Ukraine military successfully defended against this Russian missile strike. That's what they want us to believe. So in Kursk, the Ukraine military remains trapped in Kursk, and the rumors are now that Syrsky, because the Kursk operation was such a failure, Syrsky, I said Kursky, Syrsky. I'm thinking Kursk plus Syrsky is Kirsky. But Commander Syrsky is going to be fired for his failure in the Kursk operation. Where did Syrsky fail? Well, Syrsky failed because the goal of the operation was to capture the Kursk nuclear power plant. And Syrsky failed to do that. And now the Ukraine military is stuck in Kursk. They're trapped in Kursk. The Russian military is annihilating Ukraine's very valuable Western weapons, the Western weapons that were given to Ukraine. They are being annihilated in Kursk. Patriot air defense systems, Patriot air defense batteries, they have been completely annihilated in Kursk. The Patriots could have been used to protect areas of Ukraine yesterday in Russia's missile strike, but they've all been moved to the Kursk area as well, where the Russian military has demolished these air defense batteries. And the most elite of Ukraine's soldiers, whose goal was to capture the Kursk nuclear power plant, they are being annihilated. They are being picked off by the Russian military, and they're stuck in Kursk. And Zelensky can't pull back from Kursk, because if he pulls back from Kursk now, it's going to be very humiliating for the man in the green t-shirt. And so someone's going to have to be scapegoated. The rumor is that it's going to be Syrsky who will be fired. Just a rumor, but believable. There are also reports claiming that in the next couple of weeks, Russia is going to begin the mop-up operation of Kursk. They're picking off the Ukraine military. They've pretty much demolished, or in the process of demolishing and destroying, most of the collective West weapons, which were allocated to the Kursk operation. And in the next couple of weeks, the Russian military is going to deliver a big knockout punch to the Ukraine military trapped in Kursk. The mop-up operation will begin in a couple of weeks. And in Donbas, things are even worse for the Zelensky regime. The Russian military is advancing in Donbas. They are 6 kilometers away from the very important, very strategic town, maybe even small city, I believe 60,000 inhabitants of Pokrovsk. And the reports are, the Russian military is six kilometers away from Pokrovsk. And we are getting a lot of reports from Ukraine sources which claim that as the Russians advance in Donbas, across the entire front in Donbas, there's no resistance. The Russians are not entering villages and settlements, and they're not having to engage with any Ukraine military. Whatever Ukraine military is in these areas, they are either retreating or surrendering, or they're just not there. And the Russians are just moving through these villages, and these villages and towns and settlements and homes are intact. There's no fighting, there's no destroying of any type of infrastructure. And the Russians are now advancing in Donbas with little to no resistance from Ukraine. For example, here is a post from the Zelensky-loving Bild journalist Julian Ropske, who said on X, the Russian invasion army needed 3 days to capture most of the 14,000 inhabitants town of Novokhodivka, 10 kilometers southeast of Pokrovsk, without a single armored vehicle and leaving the infrastructure mostly intact. This is ... no comment ... That is the X post from super pro-Ukrainian, super Zelensky-loving Bild reporter Julian Ropske. He is realizing that the Donbas is falling and falling very quickly to the Russian military. And this has been accelerated by Zelensky's Napoleonic stunt to invade Russia and being trapped now in Russia. So that is what is happening in the Donbas. Overall, the picture for Ukraine is bad to awful to horrific to catastrophic. Nothing is going well for the Zelensky regime, for Ukraine, for the collective West, for NATO. The Sunday Times, they put out an article with the title, "Despite Ukraine's Kursk invasion gamble, Russia is closing in on a big victory," and they're talking about Pokrovsk. Russia is closing in on a very big victory with Pokrovsk. I believe once Russia captures Pokrovsk, it's going to be I think it's the second biggest city next to Bakhmut, bigger than Avdiivka, and the key military logistics hub. The key, maybe even the key military logistics hub in Donbas. So that is what is happening with Project Ukraine. The Biden White House, the EU, Ursula's Project Ukraine gamble, their plan to destroy Russia and to remove the Putin and to be masters of the world, masters of the universe. How did that go for the globalists, the neocons and the neolibs? Did not go too well. They put all their trust in Biden, in Joe Biden, Professor Biden, and Ursula Tatters van der Leyen. So that is what is happening with Project Ukraine. Let's now talk about what is going on with Pavel Durov. The French authorities, they issued charges for Durov. He is facing 12 criminal charges. Not looking good for Durov. Criminal charges like trafficking and all kinds of terrible criminal activity that they claim is taking place on Telegram. I'm mixing up my words today. That they claim is taking place on Telegram, and because this activity is happening on Telegram, well, Pavel Durov is responsible for his billions and billions of users, the content and the messages that are happening on his platform, and he is now being charged by the French authorities. Actually, the French authorities, they are saying, let me pull this up here, that they're going after one or two people which they claim are behind all of this activity, and they claim that somehow Durov is part of this activity. 1 second. Let me make sure I'm reporting this correctly. French prosecutors reveal potential charges against Durov. The Paris Public Prosecutor's Office has released a list of a dozen charges that could be brought against Telegram founder and CEO Pavel Durov, ranging from complicity in drug dealing and money laundering to facilitating the distribution of you know what. You can read it on on the screen right now. In a press release on Monday, prosecutor Lore Bekawe said that Durov was arrested as part of a broad criminal inquiry against a person unnamed. As part of that inquiry, 12 charges are being considered against Durov, including facilitating narcotics distribution, money laundering, organized crime, and aiding in the distribution of you know what. The entrepreneur is also being investigated for refusing to cooperate with cybercrime and financial crime investigations. In a statement on Sunday, Telegram called these accusations absurd to claim that a platform or its owner are responsible for abuse of that platform. Telegram complies with local laws, including the EU's Digital Rights Act, the DSA, and anti-Russian sanctions, the company added. So that's fascinating, huh? They're claiming that this is about one dude. They're going after one unnamed individual. Okay. That's interesting. Here is what Kim.com posted. Here's the major issue for Telegram users. Pavel is gone unless he gets bail. He was charged with a conspiracy crime as a member of a criminal group. It means the team that's running Telegram now will either have to make a deal or face the same charges. They will make a deal. They did the same with Mega. After a decade of proclaiming their innocence, my co-founders made a deal, made false confessions, received a 99% discount on their charges, and handed the encryption keys of Mega to the US government. Mega belongs to the US deep state now. Don't use it. So they may be trying to destroy Telegram. When all is said and done, the real purpose of all of this may be to take over Telegram, but even more than that, to just simply destroy Telegram in the same way that they destroyed Mega. That could be what's happening here. Get the Telegram executive team, the co-founders, the investors, get them to make a deal because, as Kim.com notes in his post, we are talking about a conspiracy crime, members of a criminal group. That is what the charges essentially are, and get everyone else to turn on Durov. You don't even need his brother, but get everyone else to turn on Durov. Eventually, you find a way to take over Telegram and effectively just destroy Telegram. Why would you want to destroy Telegram? Because Telegram exposed the truth about Project Ukraine and how the collective West and NATO and Ukraine, how they're losing in the conflict with Russia. That's a pretty good reason to want to exact revenge on Telegram and take it over. Too much truth on Telegram. Not enough censoring. So Macron issued a statement, and he said, little Napoleon Macron, he said that the charges against Telegram have nothing to do with politics. This is not about free speech, censorship, going after entrepreneurs. Macron said, nope, this is just about the law and how Telegram disregards the law and they need to comply with French laws, and that's what this is about. And he basically said in his post to allow the legal system in France to do its job. That is what Macron said. And if you believe that, I've got an alien rock formation to sell you if you believe Macron's statement. That is what Macron posted on X. And the European Union, they are also distancing themselves from this Pavel Durov arrest. The EU claims that they have nothing to do with any of this. This is all about France, and it's all about one dude. And leave them out of this. They have nothing to do with any of this Durov arrest stuff. The alien rock structure, everybody. This video should get 1 million views because what I am showing today is a rock formation that only aliens could have put together, and something is wedged in between these rocks here. It looks like someone's boxers. That's what this looks like. Someone has placed their boxer briefs in this rock formation. Yes, folks, the famous Larnaca alien rock formation. No one knows how it got here. No one knows how a sophisticated alien species managed to stack up these rocks one on top of the other. But here it is. It's been here for a couple of years, and scientists from around the world study this rock formation to unveil the secrets hidden within. I'm joking, man. Probably a couple of drunk dudes put these rocks together, stacked up these rocks, and then one of the guys, I guess, took off his boxers and wedged them in between some of the rocks. I don't know what happened there, but anyway. Oh boy, it has been here for a couple of years. Actually, last year I believe it was much taller. But there it is, the famous Larnaca rock formation, the world famous Larnaca rock formation. So back to Durov. Let's get back to Durov here. Yeah, the EU is distancing themselves from this whole Durov fiasco. You know why? Because the EU, they want to remain in the shadows, right? Ursula wants to remain behind the curtain in all of this. They don't want the bad publicity. They don't want people talking about how the European Union and France are no place for entrepreneurs, no place for startups, because if you start to achieve success, then the EU and France, they're going to come after you, and they're just going to take your stuff, right? So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a startup, you better think about maybe going elsewhere to do your business. But that's the EU and the UAE. We are getting reports that the UAE is now engaged with the Durov case, and they are telling France to allow the UAE to help out Durov, who is their citizen. So now you have Russia, you have the UAE. Durov has passports for Russia, for the UAE, as well as for France, and they're trying to help Durov get out of this mess, because his plane landed in France for refueling, and we are starting to get reports, once again, rumors, speculation, but the narrative, the story goes that Pavel's girlfriend, well, he hasn't officially called her his girlfriend, his lady companion that he was traveling with, that was with him in I believe he was in Kazakhstan, and then he went to Azerbaijan, and then they were making their way, I don't know where they were going, but they stopped in Paris. The speculation is that she was posting photos on Instagram detailing where she was, her locations, and showing the private jet and showing the places that she was hanging out at with Durov, and that tipped off the authorities. She didn't do it on purpose, but she was doing it for views and clout and likes and clicks, because she's from what I understand, she's an Instagram influencer or crypto lifestyle coach or something like that. And she has something like 22,000 followers on Instagram, and that's what she does. And she was posting all these images on social media, and the authorities knew exactly where Durov was at all times, and they got him landing in France. So the Kremlin, they issued a statement, Peskov, and they said that there was no meeting between Durov and Putin. No meeting between Durov and Putin. From what I understand, that is the statement from Peskov. But what about Durov and other Russian officials when he was in Azerbaijan? Because when he was in Azerbaijan, Putin and Putin's entire delegation was in Azerbaijan. But Peskov said there was no meeting between Putin and Durov. So that was an interesting statement from the Kremlin. Let's get into our clown worlds. How about the Foo Fighters, huh? How about them Foo Fighters? Dave Grohl from Nirvana. He used to be the drummer of Nirvana, and then he formed the Foo Fighters, became lead vocalist, guitar, lead vocalist, but an amazing drummer, an amazing musician. But boy, their politics are screwy. Boy, these guys politically are not the sharpest knives in the drawer, because they're upset that Trump used the song My Hero, There Goes My Hero, with Robert Kennedy the other day. And the Foo Fighters are saying that they're going to take the appropriate actions against Trump because they didn't give the Trump campaign permission to use that song as they introduced Kennedy to the Trump campaign. But the Trump campaign, they came out with a statement and they said, yeah, well, we bought a license to use that song. And so, you guys really can't do anything because here's the license. And they've shown the license to media outlets, and the media outlets are claiming, yeah, they bought a license. The Trump campaign bought a license, bought the rights to use the song My Hero. That's how the music industry works, Mr. Dave Grohl, Mr. Foo Fighters. You don't really own your music. That must suck as an artist, to be an artist and to sell out your artistic creation to these corporations who then sell it to whoever. And that's the way the business goes. So, that was an interesting story. The Foo Fighters. This is not a clown world, but maybe this is a clown world. Yeah, I'll say this is a clown world. Why not? The Zuckbot. The Zuckbot has revealed a letter that he sent to, I believe, Jim Jordan in Congress. And the Zuckbot claims to regret complying with the Biden White House during the days of the coup and during the days of the Hunter laptop story. The Zuckbot says that in this letter that he and Facebook Meta, they regret complying with the Biden White House's orders to censor content about the coup and censor content about the Hunter Biden laptop and Russian disinformation, which the Zuckbot claims Emirates. It's the Emirates plane, which the Zuckbot claims in this letter, proved to be real. Proved that the Hunter laptop story was not Russian disinformation, but it was really a Hunter Biden laptop. That was his laptop, and the Zuckbot admits that. Yeah, no Russian disinformation there. No 51 former Intel officials, and the Zuckbot regrets all of this. Why is Zuckerberg sending this letter now? Well, why is all this being revealed now? Zuckerberg may be on his way to endorsing Trump. How about that, if Zuckerberg endorses Trump? That would be interesting. But perhaps Zuckerberg is also feeling the heat from all of this Durov stuff. A lot of people are asking very uncomfortable questions about double standards. Why are they going after Durov for all of these alleged crimes and they're not touching Facebook? Well, maybe they're not touching Facebook because Facebook plays ball with the globalists. So maybe Zuckerberg is sending this letter, revealing this letter. This letter has been leaked, whatever the case, in order to take some heat and pressure off of Zuckerberg and Facebook. And finally, let's do one more clown world. This is coming from the Telegraph. They put out an article just the other day. This is not an article from a year ago, but they put out this article just a day or two ago with the title, "The Fall of Vladimir Putin is Now Only a Matter of Time." Oh, they'll never stop dreaming, will they? They will never stop dreaming. So in this article, the Telegraph talks about all of the success, all of the goals and the objectives and the success from the Zelensky, the dummy Zelensky Kursk operation, the very dumb Kursk operation. They talk about all of its successes. They actually list five points which show that the Kursk operation was a success. It improved the morale of the Ukraine military and improved the morale of the collective West. What else? Its intended goal was to draw Russian forces from Ukraine. It doesn't get into any details there. It just has one sentence. Third, the attack is intended to draw Russian forces from Ukraine, period. It says no more. It talks about how the goal was to capture Russian POWs and trade them for Azov guys. And then it says that the Kursk operation has significantly tilted the negotiating table in Ukraine's favor, which is also nonsense because Peskov the other day said negotiations. When he was asked about negotiating with Ukraine, he said negotiation. What negotiation? There are going to be no negotiations because of Kursk. So I don't know what he's talking about with regards to tilting negotiations their way. But anyway, he lists five, the Telegraph, the author lists 5 benefits from the Kursk operation. And then comes to the main overall objective, according to the Telegraph, which is really incredible clown world material. The Telegraph claims that the end goal, the real goal of Kursk was to topple Putin. That's right. That is right. The article says that the first objective for the Ukraine military in Project Ukraine was to destroy Russia's Black Sea Fleet, which it has done. So it has destroyed Russia's Black Sea Fleet, even though yesterday the Black Sea Fleet launched all kinds of missiles into Ukraine. But anyway, forget about what you saw yesterday. The Black Sea Fleet has been defeated. And then the second military objective in Zelensky's big military plan was the invasion of Kursk. And destroying the Black Sea Fleet, invading Kursk and occupying Kursk will eventually lead to Putin's downfall. Because according to this article, there are forces in the Russian government which are already conspiring to remove Putin because they are unhappy with the fact that Zelensky has captured Russian territory. That's the delusional Telegraph. That's the clown world, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter. X. Is my stuff still there? Yes, it is. Safe and sound. We are on Twitter X. We are on Telegram. Check out the Duran shop. Pick up a Duran hat. Pick up a Duran t-shirt. Like this video. Share this video. Pick up a Duran backpack. Maybe one day we'll have Duran flip-flops. But that's the video, everybody. Take care.